Yo, what's shaking, kitty cats? Happy Friday to you. Happy Feedback Friday to you. This is some weird stuff, huh? This is a combination of, let's see here. Reactor. Imagine that. What's up, Gabriel? Happy Friday to you. Tom, welcome in. 31-month streak. Man, I owe you a phone call. We got to catch up. I cannot believe just how quickly the last 2 weeks have absolutely flown by. I am just stunned by it. Been highly productive, so I've been present the whole time. I just can't believe it's going so quickly. A little beat, running through some shaper box. And of course, a little Euclidean melody here. Easy peasy. I'm pretty sure that we're all here for the same thing today. Not this mess. Not this weirdness. You guys want to jump right in? It's Feedback Friday time. Oh, I think we should have like a little cheering button there. Yay! Feedback Friday. I'm stoked to hear what you guys have been working on all week. I myself have been deep down the rabbit hole of production. Just non-stop production. Been making some headway on the new world, which is fun. Hey, Tom has some incredible news. Is it something that you can share with all of us, or should we just have a little face-to-face? I'm very excited every time you tell me this. Zeep Zanthorpe says, Shaperbox has become one of the most used plugins. It's free ideas. Yeah, right? It's fantastic. And Zeep, if you're not playing outside the boundaries of presets yet, just wait until you get like a real handle on all of the different modules. Because when you do, you can start stacking instances of Shaperbox, right? Because you can only use one instance of each module in each instance of Shaperbox. But as soon as you master, for instance, the time module, oh, it's game over, especially for sound design stuff. It's just absolutely bonkers. Bonkers. The old geek is here. Happy Friday, homie. How you doing? Kian. Kian? Oh, I forgot. Can you correct me, please? Happy Friday to you. Big Blue House. What up, what up? Oh, you're boosted. Right. Right. Got it. Thank you for correcting me before I had to get to the bottom of the chat. Tom says he can share here. He was offered to be the house engineer of a studio in Bali, but only as and when they need me. So fly you out. Dude, easy gig. Man. When you need someone, or just some quick backup, let me know. I'll update the old passport. Nate. Hi, friends. Grabs pillow. Someone was up late working on some sounds, perhaps. Like Ryan with a K. Kyan. Okay. Like it. Zeep Zanthorpe came here for the bangers. That should be a shirt. I came here for the bangers. Oh, Tom, even better. You are ground floor at this opportunity. That's fantastic, dude. I am so happy for you. That is so good. That's awesome. Nate says, "Man, it's just been an insane week, but a good one." I hear you, man. I mean, I was taken down for part of the day on Wednesday with a migraine, but basically for the rest, it's just been balls to the wall. It's a phrase I haven't said in a long time. It's Friday. Anything goes. Uh, I think the volley is on your side of the net, Nate. I think you owe me communication this one. But I can get you in on Monday or Friday next week. Thursday's toast, Wednesday's toast. Tuesday there's availability if you. Kwame, what's up, cutie? How you doing, sexy? Happy Friday to you. Welcome in. We're all better for you having you here. Tom, I'm so happy this is all coming together for you. I'm just getting caught up in the chat here, reading your updates, and you deserve it. It's fantastic. Sounds good, Nate. And for the rest of you, let's check on the queue, public feedback queue. Hey, look at that. Dave is first. Okay, so Dave is here with something new. Never heard the genre on here before, so I had to give it a go. I'm getting some pops and low thunks on the vocals and not sure why. We can assess this with you here. Maybe Masters by Iggy will kick in some of his knowledge. All right, let's do this. This one's called Genre Vision.
I'm here for absolution with some vocal distribution. I'm normally just a gamer, hence the top level disclaimer. Thought I'd try something new, need advice from you. Trying a different type of music, let's see what I can do. Is Brit Boy trying reggae? Trying reggae tonight. I am after some advice on my vocal mixing. Can you tell me what needs fixing? Not done a vocal track before in my life. Just a track that's a little bit experimental. My learning's incremental. Don't expect OhmLab to be gentle for this mess of work. Don't be too harsh on me. It's my first attempt. I'm after some advice on my vocal mixing. Can you tell me just what needs fixing?
Dave, I'm just going to put this to you as plainly as I can. Less church and more dub in the mix. This is incredible. This is incredible. I want this on the album that kicks off with the OhmLab track, which randomly gets stuck in my head. By the way, it's absolutely fantastic. Which, Dave, I'm not sure if you're actually in the room right now, but when you watch this on the VOD, my kid has put in an official request for permission to have that OhmLab track in his personal playlist. So, man, this is so good. This is so hilarious. I feel like we need some more reggae, and I kind of want Nate to get in on that, of all people. Now that I'm hearing it, I'm feeling it. Okay, so aside from the whole Flight of the Conchords appeal, I think that the palette is like super all over the place and quite hilarious, honestly. Although I would say if you could swap out a couple or just add a couple like old school Casio tone synth sounds in there, I think it would be great. Like maybe if there was an old school Casio tone clap layered in with the snare or something. Um, but that said, I think just less church and more dub in regards to the reverb and the delay. Like heavily lean into the delay and get the whole um, super high psychedelic vibe going. Um, and I think you're heading in the right direction. Javar is here. Hey, Javar has a new Discord for those who have not heard or discovered it yet. He's streaming regularly, and I'm sure he would like a little company over there. And also, if you're not already following Nate the Sound Ninja, who's in the chat currently, follow Nate the Sound Ninja. He has a stream and is on quite regularly. Oh, and last pitch is if you scroll up just a little bit on the public lounge page, there is a link dropped there by Imaginate, Danny, who officially released the entire album yesterday. He's been coming on the show and sharing tracks with us as little teasers as it's been getting closer. Please go support him. Listen to that thing. It is one of the most incredible things that you're going to hear for a while. It is art. Dude. Dremmy is here. Dude. Bro. Bro. Seriously though, Dave, I want to hear more of this reggae experiment of yours. Get a little touch of dancehall in there. Kyan, you are here. Ooh. Alien Rave Dance Party. Halloween set. Let's do this. And I made so much like dark, intense Halloween moody stuff for the season this year. Okay, luffs down a bit in general. If you're going to do guns, give them extra heat. Make them jump out of the speakers, or don't have them. It's like one or the other. Because if they're weak, then it's like, was that a gun? Right? Um, but when they hit, they hit. So subchannel down several dB, bring the cutoff up to 45 hertz, 12 dB per octave. And then in the last section, you're going to want to bring it down quite a bit, probably 10 dB after that change there. Because as soon as you cut that low end out a little bit, the perceived loudness is going to jump considerably. Volume mix in the first section, and a little bit in the last section. The low end is just kind of overtaking things, but I'll cover that in a bit. Just try to balance the low with the mids. The highs get a touch hot in a couple of spots. Soothe that a little bit. 130, pretty satisfying there. Really beefy mix. When you back off the luffs, you might want to add just a little bit of saturation in your mastering chain, or in the output of your mix. Just kind of replace some of that body that might kind of disappear when you back off the luffs a little bit. All right, make sure you watch resonance on filter sweeps that drop below 350. Get into those sub frequencies with a boost, and whoa. Okay, so what I mean by that is you've got this big filter sweep and it goes down, and I'm just going to show this to you with an EQ. So it's more visually making sense to you. It sounds like your low end cutoff is somewhere down around here, and it's probably kind of like something like this or something, and you've got this sweep that goes. But see the problem here? This resonance, what resonance is, it's an EQ boost, right? It's a fairly narrow bandwidth that's boosting in decibels, and if it's up here, like that's 15 dB. That's pretty significant, right? So it throws off your mix when you get down there. So just don't do that. So the solution is to do this. So as you're getting towards those mids and whatnot, you bring it down like that, right? And you bring it back up as you're going to those upper sweeps or upper frequencies, and make sure that you don't get too spicy when you get up into the highest frequencies, right? So it kind of, you've got this sweet spot here where you can have quite a bit, and then you got to kind of mellow it out on both sides. All right, hope that makes sense. See what other people are saying here. KDHD is here. Hey, man, how you doing? Happy Friday to you. Okay, so everybody likes this one, but the bass has overtaken the mix. So I think we're kind of aligned on that one. Saffron, welcome in. Happy Friday to you. Dremia says, that sub is now taking over the world. There's nothing we can do. Be done with. Lexi Lex, yeah, the week is over again. I swear, it's getting faster and faster and faster. Ah. Hey, Blackberry's here. And yeah, he points out something kind of technical, essentially. OhmLab is describing the EQ curve as following the equal loudness contour. Let's see what Gabriel made this week. Hey, Gabriel, this is 2 weeks in a row, man. Wait, where am I here? There we go. Always a pleasure to listen to what you're up to. This one's called Worlds Collide. Ah, KDHD, I appreciate you, homie. Good to see you in here. What's good in upstate New York these days? Yo, yo, yo. Okay, so Gebro, there's something happening with your mixes. The last couple that you've brought by, the orchestration, your arrangement, everything is really superb. The space that you're dwelling in is really great, but there's a problem with the compression and the limiting that's in place. I think there's just too much compression overall, so there's too much noise floor presence, and I don't feel like the low end of your EQ frequencies of your individual sounds are being trimmed enough. And when there's a lot of sub presence continually and consistently that is, peaking in the mix, it's probably throwing off um, the your outcomes with your compression. Like these really big booms and whatnot. It feels like those peaks are probably bigger than everything else. And if it's running through the same compression as everything, then everything is being squished down just because this peak over here was big. So we got to figure out a little bit of signal flow stuff, a little bit of volume mixing, I think, because it ends up making your mix feel kind of dampened or held back instead of really expansive and uplifting. And it also keeps there from being a great deal of clarity, especially in the middle of the mix, which is where everything is happening. Um, so I think there needs to be more of a critical decision made with which instruments are going to be at their maximum volume and which instruments, which elements are supportive role players. And that's all they should be in the mix. I don't think any of them should creep up to the point of loudness. I think that they should all just be present. Um, and I think that you might have too many elements in the mix uh, at the most fever pitch points, right? At the most emotionally impactful points. Especially there at the end, you've got huge amounts of energy. And yet there's also kind of this melange of noise too, because there's a range of different sounds that are competing with each other in both timbre and timing and pitch. So I think there's just a little bit more control needed, and it might be good to go back um, to a couple of your mixes from say 1 year ago. It seems like you had a little bit more simplicity and a little bit less emphasis on the mix or the mixing efforts. It seemed like you had a little bit more focus on the instrumentation, and that kind of kept things in their lane. So maybe a little bit more less is more mentality in this. So anyway, for some specifics, at 25 seconds, maybe a slightly more dramatic curve on that stinger hit combo. That noise, you could hear it creeping up a little early. And part of that is just the lufs. It's pretty loud. The compression is pretty high. So maybe when you back off some of that, that'll help. But you can feel like as we go into this big full mix here, we've got this area. Stuff is ringing out pretty openly. Can you hear how the top of those strings now aren't actually kind of able to shine anymore? They were before because they weren't being tapped down, but now they are because these other things in the mix came in and they're forcing those other things down, right? So I think just some more gain staging and whatnot before the compression gets involved there. Um, that's it, man. This is just such a great arrangement, such a great arrangement. Um, all right, let's see here. Zeep says, "Be right back. Going to Mordor." Yeah, Gebro, the compression is on the mix, the limiting on the track itself. Blackberry says, with orchestral textures, remember that in a real room, there's a rise time velocity to natural occurring ambient texture of the room. If your applied reverb in a mix starts at maximum velocity for an event, then it makes the source sound seem a little flat and lifeless. Be conscious of the pre-delay and the EQ variation in a reverb that is velocity sensitive. KDHD says that nug of information about the limiting in one element causing an attenuation on all elements in a group 1000%. I had this problem for years. Feedback and information like this is valuable. It's like never free. That is what's wild. All good. All good. That's what we're all here for. KDHD says you can hear that noise floor pretty clearly, too. Like Chris mentioned, it could be in intentional white noise layer 2, but it's too present in quiet parts. Yeah, and I think that, to be perfectly fair, in a track like this, I don't know that I would add any intentional noise layer. I think that there would be a really specific textural element that I would add rather than noise, because noise covers all frequencies in the spectrum, right? And what you want to do is find little nooks and crannies that you can put sound in, because otherwise, it's just adding more competition. There's the man. There's the man. Danny is here. I'm Imaginate. Follow him. And remember, go check out the album. Give him lots of support. Man, Gebro, how have things been going for you? Production wise and getting your stuff out. Still good over there? Oh, Danny, you are welcome. We were talking about you earlier this morning, too. Okay, Dragonleaf. Blade of Miquella. Yo, Dragonleaf, this is sounding good. You're on to something, I think. It's a really good mix of flavors and styles. You've found a fairly comfortable position for the funk elements to kind of coincide, collaborate, commingle. Say it however you like. Watch the low frequencies in the reverb channel. Bring the low end cutoff up to 45 hertz, 12 dB per octave curve, so it's not too brutal. Use a shelf EQ to bring the frequencies below 70 hertz down a few more dB as well. And that's simply in an effort to kind of give you a little bit more low end control over the mix, so it balances a bit more. Like I said, it's a pretty cool hybrid mix. I wouldn't steer you in a different direction in regards to the sounds that you're using or the arrangement or anything. It's really just kind of a frequency balance thing at this point and loudness, like volume mix. One thing that I would say is that you have it like a a fair bit of space for a little bit of like sonic embellishments, right? Little transition effects. The ones that you have in there are tasty. You do also have a little bit more room for some dynamic range play, right? There can be a little breakdown section where you're dipping down to almost nothing and just kind of letting the vibe sink in. Maybe toss in another sample or something, some dialogue. I think it's pretty good. Pretty good. I think that you should continue to kind of explore what other boundaries you can push with this. I think that there's a small amount of room for something that's a little bit more in touch with some psychoacoustic play, right? A little more psychedelic feel in a couple of spots. Um, yeah, you're really knocking on something here. That's good. Bonk is infectious. It is, isn't it? It is 100% merged. You can use a mid-side EQ for something like that. If you've got a sound that's just one integrated file, you can use a little mid-side EQ. Or you can use a stereo imaging tool, right, and narrow the width of the low end up to a certain point. Zeep Sandthorpe, you are up. Hope you're doing well over there, man. Happy Friday to you. This one is called Equilibrium. W Angel, welcome in. Happy Friday to you. And that little freeze at the end there on the vocals was nice. A little bit more of that kind of playful freedom throughout, I think, is really going to be the finishing touch on this. The biggest thing right now is the volume mix and loudness. When you get those two things aligned, almost everything in this entire track is almost um, as it should be for it to be kind of like at its ideal, I think. Um, at 20 seconds in, it felt like the top synth just kind of came up in loudness while the low end was being disclosed through some filter play. I think maybe both can go through the filter. It just adds a little bit more character in that build. Withholds a little bit more, right? So when you get more disclosed to you later, it's a bit more pleasing. 48 seconds in, play with the reverb space on this vocal synth, I think. Bigger and more open sprays as it builds and make it move a little bit more. And I think with that kind of early movement and excitement happening, it's going to push you to bring a little bit more of that to the rest of the mix. And when you back off of the loudness of essential elements like the pad, for instance, it'd be great if the pad came down like, I don't know, 8 dB, a solid 8 dB, like just bring it, like grab the fader, just yank it down a bit, and sit there with it for a while and realize just how much extra space there is for your ears to be able to focus on the other essential elements, right? The pad is always going to be a supportive thing, right? Especially when there's a vocal popping or anything else. And if the pad is kind of at a competitive level with one of those lead elements, it's probably a good indicator that there are other things off in the volume mix as well. And then when you do kind of reclaim that space, it's going to be easier for us to focus on smaller embellishments. A really, really satisfying moment at 115. It's a really good full mix. You've got a really solid palette in this one. Kick bass combo is just tasty. Sub needs to come down a few. Keep the bass dominant over the sub at all times. The sub should be even more minimal and supportive than the pad, obviously. It's really just there for emphasis and warmth. Fullness, right? 153, minimal backing vocal chops should come up. I'd make them more present in the mix and play with them in the delay and reverb tails as well. And this will also not be a huge jump after you bring down the pad. At 220, you can hear the mid-range is driven. This is a byproduct of a couple of things. There's a few things building up. The compression or the limiting is a bit too much here, so the gain being added back is a bit. The vocal effect is super tasty, by the way. The processing that you have on it in that moment is really, really nice. And when you take a bit of that extra loudness away, you're going to feel and hear the texture of that vocal processing way more. It's going to feel even more satisfying, I think. 246 transition effect right here. There are a couple of other spots in the mix. Like if you listen to that moment, you'll probably be able to easily identify a couple that came before and a couple that come after that are quite similar. And not a transition effect for the sake of the transition, but more just for emotional impact and motion and flow. How the whole thing is unfolding there. Oh, watch the high end excitement in this moment here, around 220. I would stutter or alter the stutter rate and depth and color a bit at 256 and thereafter, okay? Because you've still got a few more minutes left in the mix at this point. And we've been hearing this kind of delivery for a while, which is very satisfying and pleasing up to this point. But if it continues, then it's going to be a little old hat. So at 322, opportunity to detune these little fleeting synth elements on the sides. If you do that, you'll probably get a little more character and depth out of them. And also in this moment, you might want to be taking stock of the reverb levels. I didn't write it down here, but I was kind of tracking it. It does feel like you have some room to back off of that reverb in a fair number of places. Remember, you can ride volume automation on your processing channels the same exact way that you can on your instrument channels, and it will increase the drama, the feels. 350 volume mix here. Embellishments are overtaking the attention span of most listeners at this point, I think. 415, bring the pad down in the mix. I mentioned it very late, but I think it's an early thing to cover. 447, this section, you can actually kind of see that the peaks are sitting above the rest, and it feels like this last section is being pushed a little bit more than it needs to be in general. And you can hear it in a couple of different spots when elements align, like the morphine synth and the vocal chops. And I'll say it again, man, the bass kick combo is just tasty. All right, let's see what other people have said in the Discord. I'm sure it's probably good stuff. Chakra DMB, how you doing, brother? Happy Friday to you. Who is here? Who is saying what? Man, everybody is liking this. All the little flying RPs. Lexi says the perfect track for suicidal speeding on a country night, a country road during the night. Genre crashed him. Oh man. Oh, okay. So people really like this one. I believe I copied it. Yes, I did copy it in there already for you. All right, let's see if I can get this. I don't know if I can. 5011 knock? I don't know. You're going to have to help me out with this one, homie. I don't want to butcher it. Joining us saying good day to the people of the community, just jumping around, spending time with those I follow on Twitch for my birthday. Before I go out for my birthday, not sure what my fiance has planned, but it should be good. Well, happy birthday to you. I have a track that could use this style of feedback. I've been told it's done the way it is, but I've also been looking for input like this. How do I get in? And how long is the wait for? All right, go to the Discord, drop it in public feedback, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looks like you're number 10. How are things, Chakra? What you working on this week? Blackberry says, if you're still working on this mix, I would suggest taking out all the percussive elements, mix and balance what remains, and then bring in the percussion that you need. Right now, it sounds like the mix was built around the drums to the detriment of the music. Hey, dude, Blackberry. Man, your insights are freaking untouchable. Untouchable. Dino, how you doing, homie? Is it Dino or Dino? And if it's Dino, is it the Dino that I used to have in one of my classes? DJ Notch, yeah, absolutely. Hop in the mix. We got time. KDHT says, why am I just now seeing the bot's name is Omi? Oh, Soul Michael. Okay. Well, Solok, we'll call you Solok for now. Soul Michael when you change it, right? Or Soul Mikhail. Oh, man. Well, I don't know what the birthday surprise is either, but happy birthday to you, and I hope it's treating you all right so far. All right. Go for some Kaisem here.
No, that be that. No, that be that. Oh, Chico, I get away to. Why you not?
All right. Biggest thing to fix this or make it better is to bring the lufts down. The synths are great. It's a great use of the vocal sample, really catchy groove. There needs to be a little bit more low end management. Not not as many things need the lowest frequencies present in them to feel full down low, especially once they're all integrated in a full mix. There's plenty of other things to help bolster that frequency range if you shave off just a little bit more of each one of those elements. I think it'll make the whole thing just a little bit more vibey because you'll have just a little bit more clarity and punch coming out of each sound as it's being delivered from the speakers. It's just going to have more energy to create those sounds. And I would offset the ducking across the instruments. So right now it feels like there's a bunch of stuff going into a compressor and that's managing your pumping, right? I would offset that by sending stuff through different compressors and setting different ratio, right? Depth, threshold, knee. Make it unique to each sound and make sure that the clarity and vibe is what's driving the decision making, right? The movement's going to come no matter what, right? It's really just about like what is the perfect stopping point for each one. Watch out at 130. There's resonance peaking in the reverberated vocal. I really like the mix profile for this. It's a bit bloated in the low end, and I would back off the loudness. Let's see what other people are saying here. I don't know what the language is either, but I really like the sample. Something good. Welcome in, homie. How you doing? Soul is saying it's hard to find, or Mikhail is saying it's hard to find streams that give feedback in such a form, so I might come back more often. Most of the time they just say what needs to be fixed. Typing it out give me more info on what needs to be fixed. That way I can fix it. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of this whole thing, right? Blackberry says the little muted cowbell pattern. Try moving it 1/8 note earlier in the track. I think it'll create a really nice counter rhythm that should play off the music, giving it a little more non-Western feel. I like that. I like that. I love it. It is a vibey Friday, right? Something good, right? Oh, I may have missed this. Dino, are you Dino or Dino? All right, let's see who's up next. Yeah, Mikhail, we're only here for this purpose. No one's getting rich or famous doing this, right? This is really just about listening carefully, being really freaking honest with ourselves, and sounding even better the next week. Kwame, you sexy beast. Everybody, put on your slippers. Turn the lights down low. If you put clothes on for any reason today, go ahead and take them off. Yo, Kwame is good. Go ahead and bring that low and cutoff up to 55 hertz, 12 dB per octave curve. I really like the nice touch with the low register kalimba there. Kick down a bit, less sub frequencies in the kick as well, so probably like 3 dB down. When you bring those sub frequencies out, it's going to jump in the mix a little bit more. Man, the keys are just mm, mm, mm. They're like buttery and syrupy all at the same time. Need a napkin. Man. Blackberry says your sound selection has gotten so much better than when I last heard your stuff, Kwame. Everything is a lot more complimentary, and you seem not to be fighting your orchestral choices, voicings, arrangements as much. Um, Kwame says, "Thank you so much. I need to figure out what to do with my more upbeat vibes." I think this is going to help you with all that, honestly, because a lot of it is just, as Blackberry's pointing out, when things aren't getting in the way of other things in any way. But not only that, right? When you move beyond that step, right? First we throw a whole bunch of stuff out because we're like, oh, this sounds cool, this sounds cool, this sounds cool. Why does my mix not sound cool? Right? And then you figure out, okay, well, I've got too many things competing or whatever. But it's not just that. It's not making the space. It's not like finding the stuff that isn't going to bump up against it. It's about finding the things that will actually complement it, right? And then in that process, that's where the soupy amame element comes from, right? The twang and sizzle and yum in everything, right? Because things commingle in a way that you can't quite predict until you're there. So I think that part of it, like Blackberry's saying, is the selection of voices and instruments and timing in. I think that will absolutely translate to upbeat stuff as well. So you good, good. It's really, really just tasty. The old geek is here saying, hey, this is my third song on my solo project. It's kind of black metal with a bit of folk. Everything is done by me, and it's all BST, too. All right, well, let's see what this sounds like. This one's called Falcon for Wintershade. Yo, it's not sure. Welcome in. All right, let's get through this. Old Geek, it's awesome. I really like the drum work, especially in this. I think that the guitar is a little flat in the mix overall. I'd audition some different profiles and play a bit more with some amp modeling and get some more air and movement worked in, because that's what's going to feel like it's filling the space, and then that's going to help us buy into this kind of bigger than life illusion that metal gives us, right? Kick has a little too much sub in it for the rapid articulation, and you can feel it in a couple of very specific spots. Around a minute 40 or so, there's this very intentional build around the kick, and you can hear that each time it's hitting, it's actually affecting how we're hearing things. So that sub presence is actually affecting things in a few different ways. So I'd make that disappear. At 2 minutes in, the hat is disappearing. And it does happen periodically throughout the mix. The drum work is good. The presence of the different elements at times do lack. Super fun composition, by the way. It definitely goes to a bunch of different places, and even a couple of little familiar homage bits. Some volume mix stuff. It seems like there's room for much more volume automation, bring more separation between elements, and more dramatic changes over time, right? So allow things to really surge back, to like reclaim its position in the mix if it's been brought down, right? And vice versa, right? If something is beginning to solo over here, everything else should maybe come down a little bit or move around a little bit even, right? And again, bolster stuff with transition effects, little embellishments, even if it's just a little reversal or a very small whoosh or something like that, can have a tremendous impact on the listener and the way that we're perceiving just how powerful all of the things we are hearing actually are. Blackberry says, as to the sounds, mix, and texture, what makes metal sound huge is when, at a conversational listening level, it creates the illusion of pushing air. Think of the mini tsunamis of sound that marshals in a small club make as waves start to flutter across the surface of your pitcher of beer. Man, it's not only poetic, it's true. It's true. That's good stuff. Hey, it's not sure. All good, man. Regardless of whether you're here or not, we'll listen to it, and you can catch it on the VOD if you have to step out for anything. It's good to have you in the mix, homie. Old Geek says, yeah, metal guitar on VST is kind of weird. You're right, it is, and it's hard to mix regardless. It's one of the tougher things, really. Big metal guitars, when you got a whole bunch of other things happening at the same time. Yeah. Yeah. Sav says, I think the guitar textures could use some delay and reverb because it feels like thin and metal needs to sound big and large when it comes to modern metal. Iron Imp is here. Welcome in, homie. Happy Friday to you. Good stuff. I think everybody in the chat is kind of on the same page with this one. Good stuff. Andremia says, this one's called Weirdo. If y'all are unfamiliar with what Andremia does, he starts with one sound, and makes all of the sounds from just a tiny little piece of that one sound. Yo, Andremia, this one was so completely wild and different and out there. It's cool. It's got like this weird, discordant, sad feeling to it, and then that bass comes in, and with like just one note. Like if we could just go back to that moment right here. It's like lost souls. It's like straight discord. And you could feel it. That in that first little slide up, like it just saves the day. It's amazing. D2 nature of the stabs just delicious. At 225, the bass slides, keep the funk present, keeps the feels up a bit, and it's like from the initial onset of that first slide, I feel that. Same. So this is all derived from the same wolf sample, then. Still, huh? I prefer the minimal vibe in this, but the unsettling, or I'm not sure what other word to put toward or put to it than like discordant or yeah, it's not quite dissonant, right? It's just kind of all over. It makes me appreciate the minimal vibe even more. That contrast is pretty cool. Yeah, there's something about your arrangements that help people get lost, I think, in Dremia. It's not just the pace, and it's not just the sounds that you're developing. It is the way that you're arranging things. It's not quite just the hypnotic nature of it either. It's something else. There's something else. Yeah, abstract-ish. Yeah, something about it, man. Your stuff really helps people get lost in it, I think. I think it's the shape of your sounds. Do you find yourself kind of falling into a um a system of sorts of the shapes of sounds that you're using in your mix? Because to me it feels like 95% of your tracks have 95% of the same shapes. The sounds are changing, the timbre delivery, the arrangement, all of that. I think it's the shapes of your sounds, homie. Okay, Iron M, I'm going to make note of that, and I'm going to go check that stuff out because I am actually not familiar with the soundtrack. Dude. Okay, if this has really got Bop It in it, Chris, is there Bop It in this? All right, Andremia says, each sound shapes the next, and I do have a familiarity that is consistent, but now changing to new ideas. Yeah. Yeah, I can feel it. I can feel it. All right, this one's called Levity. Flip it. KDHD says, this tune was purely for fun. Oh, there's a ton of bop in it. If you guys are unfamiliar with KDHD, you're in for a treat, whatever we're about to listen to.
Grab it, fold it, flip it, fold it, grab it, pass it. Twist it, flick it, pop it, flick it, twist it, forward. Pull it, twist it, flick it, pop 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 it, twist it, twist, 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 twist it, twist, 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 twist it, pull it, spin it, flick it, pop it, flick it, twist it, pull it, twist it, flick it, pop it, pop it, twist it, spin it, twist, flick it, pop it, flick it, twist it, forward, pull it, twist it, flick it, pop it, flick it, twist it. Game over. Killer, dude. Do it the same, but better.
It's not surprising that I have no gripes on this. It is just great. I'm a little biased. I think everything you make is great. So, man. Yeah, Iron Imp says, this feels like a bass EDM version of so many 90s toy commercials. It's fun. Absolutely. That hits the nail on the head right there. Who made this? This was KDHD. That was fun. Man, that was good stuff. It was so fun. I'm going to play this one for Nico when he gets home. He's going to flip out. He's going to ask me to play it like 20 times. I can already tell you that's going to happen. Yeah. Dude, bring more stuff. Hey, why are we so lucky? Why did we get you on a Friday? Is this possible more? Can we get you more on Fridays? Tell him to do a remix. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. I think we're going to work a new synth into his mix this weekend. Stoked about that. All right, we got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's leave it open for a little bit longer, shall we? All right, let's see what Zlexi Lex, aka Alex, has to say today. One of the more creative ones of my official releases I absolutely want to show. Does this need a music video? Want to hear a live version? Feel free to comment. It's definitely one of my favorites. Let's do this.
Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Ooh, I've been this far, go around without my car and had it all these scars. Happens to be so dry, sweating until I cry, till I can't pass things by. Don't give up, but things come out right.
Okay, dude, get this off here. This is so good. It's just so good. Let's start right there. It's so good. This really strong 80s vibes. I feel like you probably have a time machine at home because the last couple you've brought by are just really on point. There's definitely some MJ, some George Michael influence shining through for sure. Really, really enjoy the energy in the delivery. All of it is so good. There are a few things. They're not quite nitpicky. I think they really would improve future tracks. So here it goes. Loudness is pushed a bit. It doesn't need to be mixed at the same loudness level that club bangers are. This is a pure synth pop vibe, and it should remain so, I think. Sub-channel down a good 5 decibels, low-end cutoff up to 55 hertz. You don't need the low-end rumble that's in there. You've got a beefy bass, bring it down just a few dB. This mallet-ish kind of instrument at 254 needs to come down a good 5 dB. And then here at 350, I understand that we're pushing the excitement and the levels there at the end for a big finish, but the vocals are being overtaken. And the vocals have got to stay up on top. So I think it's actually a pretty good indicator of just how much the rest of the mix can come down across the board. So if you bring down the entire instrumental mix, say 5 dB or so, I would back off the limiting that you have pushing the loudness. That's going to do it for you, really. It's just bringing, like, your vocals are right where they should be, but it's bringing these instruments right up into its chair, right up into its seat, and it really they need to take a back seat. So that's what I got for you on this one. This was so good. It's so good. Quirky's here. Yeah, dude. Blackberry says this could have been a Queen outtake from the Hot Space album. Just gonna let that one sink in there for a second. Some pretty big props. All right, we mentioned it earlier, but Imagine It released their album in full yesterday, and it absolutely deserves a sit down and listen from track 1 all the way through the end. I think there's like 13 tracks or so on the entire thing. It is a true work of art. You guys have heard some of the tracks here, several of them, as we've been building up to the release. But it is officially out now, and it would be great to see so much support go Danny's way on this one. This one's called Magnolia. Blackberry, take care, homie. You the man.
Don't you see, time is running out for me. Don't you see, push it to the edge and I'll fall free. It's the end of all as we know it. Time will only fold if we play it.
Yo, Danny, so good. It's so good. You guys go listen to it, the entire thing. When, for some reason, when you post a link from a streaming platform into a Discord, and then it's played from Discord over Twitch, it ends up feeling just a little bit like flatter and boxed than it really is. Um, as I'm sure you guys feel when you're listening to your own stuff on feedback here. But when you get a really, really well made album like this one, man, listen to it on whatever system you can that gives you the full effect. I'll tell you what. Grab it. Just grab it. It's really good. Yeah, it's weird, right, Danny? Yeah, it's weird. The little things that happen. All right, I'm gonna scroll down here. Dr. D&B is in. We're gonna go ahead and close the queue. Don't worry, everyone in the queue will be heard. We still got a ways to go, you guys. You guys are bringing some heat. Danny, you are welcome, man. Yeah, please feel free to spam. And everybody click through. Give them some love. This one is from Smiley Face. W. Virtual love. Let's check this.
La 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 la.
Yo, okay, this one is great. It's super, super satisfying. There's only a couple of things I'd like differently. The keys can come down just a little bit. The noise, the white noise based sound effects can all come down just a little bit, and the high end can come down just a little bit. The luffs on the whole thing, the loudness is just a little hot, so I bring down the limiting just a little bit too. So it's a little bright up top. I'd audition a kick that has a little bit more gravity to it, a little bit more roundness, a little more low end, something that sits just a little bit more securely in the mix. It seems a little bit thin for the bass synth that's in there. Everything else about this, I freaking love. It's great. It's great. It's good stuff. It's Lexi like. Oh well, okay. So Corky says the same thing. Sorry, this sounds great, but I would personally like a little bit more bassy kick. And Zlexi Lex says a more bassy kick would turn it from Japanese to Balkan. That said, I would still like just a touch more gravity in that kick, just a little bit more of a solid footing. And that's really good. That's really good. Don't push the loudness too much and watch the brittle highs. All right, Mikhail, let's do this. Aspire hope. Okay, Mikhail, pretty cool concept here. Um, a few things. I think that the volume mix is off on this. I think that the low end and that big synth are so loud compared to the other stuff that it makes me want to recommend auditioning a couple other pairs of headphones. I see your comment can't go through your big speakers, so you're stuck using headphones. I would try to get your hands on maybe a couple more pairs of headphones and pick one that you feel you're getting a fair representation of sound through. If you're familiar with how certain songs sound on a good system, go and listen to those tunes on your headphones. And the more you do that, the more you're going to correlate what you're hearing to what you should be hearing, I guess, in those same headphones. It's okay to work with a limited um, resource like speakers or headphones. It's just that you need to be aware of in what areas they are lacking and in what areas they are embellishing, so you can have a fair shot at getting stuff out at a really professional level, right? Okay, sub needs to come down a good 8 decibels. Right now it's really loud and it's also a little deep, so I'd bring the low end cutoff up to about 50 hertz, 12 dB per octave on that. What could be happening in your mixing right now is that the subs are dominant. It's affecting how you're hearing other things. And then when you bring in a new element like you do at 154, it's being brought in at a level that's too big because you're not able to hear it clearly at a lower volume. So when you bring down that sub, it's going to help. At 144, I would say that the vocal chop pattern that you've got here is pretty cool, but I would release, I would modulate the release or the decay a bit on that. So we're not getting the same tiny little snippet. We're getting a varied length of that little snippet, right? So there's just a little bit more opportunity for groove, right? Instead of just rhythm, because groove is super important. At 2 minutes, oh, at 154, I already mentioned that. Big synth, bring it down like 10 dB. It's pretty significantly loud. At 220, the guitar muted plucks can be more present, so you can bring those up a little bit and move them away from center. I would also make your bass mono. Right now it feels like it's filling up a fair bit of the sides, and that's kind of crushing the opportunity for other things to really be present on the sides. So center your bass, move some other things away from center that are higher in frequency, and start again. Start again with your volume mix. Keep all of your tracks the way they are, but start again with the volume mix. Pick one element in the entire mix. That's your hero. That's the one that's going to have the loudest peaks in the whole shebang. Start mixing around that guy, right? And then after you have a pretty decent consistent level for each one of the elements in your mix, make sure that you're giving it a good pan position too, a good stereo position with your panning. And then once that's set, figure out how you can use volume automation now to create even more change over time from those starting points that you've set for your volume levels. And I think that once you do that, it's going to start steering you in the right direction. You're going to hear things differently. Let's see what other people are saying in the chat here. Andremi is also pointing out the stereo sub and elements that could be on the sides in the middle. Yeah. As Andremia points out, mixing, man, it's something that you start learning early on, and then you just spend the rest of your life trying to master. Roku Sai is here. What's up, Roku? How you doing, man? Yeah, I think, Mikhail, one of the best things that you can ever do for yourself in regards to learning more about mixing is to be a fly on the wall, right? Pay attention to what real ninjas are saying, like people that have been doing this for a long time, and you hear their stuff and you're like, wow, right? Sometimes it's really hard to even put words to what it is that you're observing. So the only way to really glean what you need from that is to just listen to what people say that are making stuff at that level, right? There's a lot of little nuance. Every track being different and all. All right, Bangarang. Let's do this.
chere tati ako hike. Anya na musia de kura kara. Akara kara betawa kaga.
Solid. Bangarang. You done it with this one. Right from the very first notes. Sample is ace, by the way. I think the keys, this pluck, is getting a little too monotonous over time. I'd bring the volume down a little bit so you have room to bring it up in choice and very specific points of arrangement. I would introduce a slow moving modulator or a 3. As I was typing this, there was a filter opening on it, which felt good, but a bit more of that just to bring more interest and change over time. Small bit of ear candy here and there would push this one over the top. I would probably use transition style effects and little fleeting, little stinger type elements that can go across the stereo field at just the right time, simply for the sake of embellishment. That's it. It doesn't really need more support around transitions that they kind of size and shape for this type of thing. At 255, at this point, since we've been hearing this delay in a pretty static position for quite some time, I would say vary the delay on the vocals a bit over time here and create more interest engagement. You can vary the timing of it, the feedback of it, right? And also feel free to embellish that processing channel output a bit, right? You can use gating techniques. You can chop and stutter that stuff in the tail, right? It always makes for a pretty interesting thing when that kind of play starts happening. It's really good. It's really good. Ooh. Ooh, Dino's saying it'd be cool with the bass if it went from like a D and a sharp and then to A. Pretty cool little feel. Yeah. Feel that little tension in there? Yeah. Speaking of, let's do this. Dano's got one here called Early Autumn. Hey now. Hey now. Oh. Dude, this is fantastic. It's so good. As Something Good says, just keep working on it. One day it won't sound shit. Gotta love it when your brothers push you a little bit, right? Yeah, I mean, aside from the loves being pushed a bit, like it's just, ugh. It's just, ugh. It's lovely. It's like, hmm. It's like when you're sitting at the jazz club and they bring you your drink and it's just right. You know what I mean? Like, not only are the tunes great, but the ambience is great. Yeah. Dremia, if you're not making more, you're fired. I guess what I'm trying to say is it is holistically great. It's not just the composition, it's the delivery of the instruments, it's the shaping, it's all of it. It's really good. The mix is solid, man. It's really good. It's annoying weirdo who hasn't released anything in over a year. Oh man. Speaking of weirdos, we got something good here. Pika collab. Oh. Oh. Speaking of just drop out, who just dropped out? Man, this thing is 21 seconds long. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Oh, I'm going to listen to it again. You can't stop me. It's making me happy right now. I'm tossing out the nice beat, bro, for the second time today. Man, that was tasty. That was good. What'd you do with all your time this week, man? It's 21 seconds. Come on, man. You tease. I'm gonna have to hit play on this like 13 more times just to get the bops out, you know. Oh, no excuses. Oh man. All right, let's see who is up next. We've got the lulz guy. Something good. This was good. I hear some roots and stuff. I could say more things, but it was only 21 seconds. It's like not even long enough to sample. So trivia demands at least 10 more seconds. Oh man. Yeah, it's gotta be longer. It's just gotta be more. Oh man. It's okay though. I mean, this is a safe space. This is a safe space. And good on you for getting past the 10-second mark. No, not the low guy, the lulz guy. There we go. The night begins. Oh man.
Say my name now and then. Let me know if you're here again. Soon as these subtle words begin to weave the sky will erupt, and you will never sleep again. With each end and every beginning, I'm left with the silence on how I lost my meaning with all I have and every dispossession. I'm left with the violence, and I'll never learn my lesson. As the night begins to weep, I pray for the Lord to put me safely down.
Okay, this was great. Aside from that volume jump at the end, which causes the clipping, this is really good. I really enjoyed the mix and the pace and the palette, especially the slightly left of center timbre of the vocals with instrument palette that you've built is really unique, which is always so pleasing to me. At 241, it's just a big jump. The impressiveness, the jarring nature of it is going to be there regardless of additional volume. Okay, the distortion in the guitar is going to shake people enough as it is. So a couple things here. Less sub bass in that moment, and less volume jump. That's it. Everything else felt really, really fantastic in this one. There's a lot of original and unique choices being made in this, which is really fantastic. It's like the only thing we can really ask for from an artist, right, is to stand up as themselves and be proud about it. And it really feels like that is happening here. So it's good. It's good. I'm just now catching this thread. Chris is standing up trying to do the right thing here and has no idea that you guys are mates. Oh, pushing the boundaries, pushing the limits. Rokusai, I would buy tickets with you. I would go see the show with you. Who is this again? This is the Laws guy. Yeah, this was unique, and I like unique. This is really good stuff. Oh no! Oh no! Now you guys are pulling Chris into this. Your dysfunctional family is spilling over. Yeah, something good kind of points out an important critical piece to this whole thing. You can't be mean to me. Indremia, it's KDHD, who is also with Chris. Not sure is here. And not sure if you're not in the room, we're still listening. This one is reworked. Let's see what it sounds like. Oh, you're here. Good. Not sure. This is great. I really, really like this palette that you've built up. It's really good left to center, left field stuff. Um, After the drop, a couple elements felt a little dampened, so watch the downward compression on the mix itself. It's okay to use it in whatever dose you like on your sound design processes, but let the top of your mix stay wide open for this type of stuff, right? It's supposed to be minimal, less is more kind of approach with most of this stuff, right? And then the the bigger stuff, the feelings of it being bigger in spaces really comes through almost like this process of addition through subtraction almost, right? What isn't there is what allows the other stuff to stand out the most, right? So I would also recommend bringing the pad like elements come down a bit. It's going to make a little bit more room for those smaller bits. And then you can use some volume automation for those little dramatic moments where you want a little bit more emotional impact with something kind of surging in. But all that said, I really, really enjoy the vibe. This one, I like the textures stuff. It sure says, yeah, the mix for this thing was a whole thing. After 5 years, I just gave up trying to fix and tweak stuff. So I was learning. Yeah, I bet. I bet. Yeah, multi-band compression. And using a bit more, like leaning more into the upwards compression rather than the downwards compression, and all of that is really going to make the edges of everything really defined and have this really like maximum potential. Something good. Take care, homie. this thread in the chat's just killing me. It's awesome. Oh, it's good stuff. All right, who's up next? Iron Imp is here. He's showing up with some odd lo-fi concrete stuff. All right, this one's called Receive from Bus C Shuffle. Dano, take care. I love this level that it's at right now. It's just begging you to lean in just a little bit. Oh man, Iron Imp, that was fun. That was fun. I got nothing for you on this one. It's just satisfying. That was a good share. Quirky, how are you? How's things? How's school? How's life? Well, you type all out all those answers. I'm going to listen to animals. Oh, quirky. Breeze for welcome in. Happy Friday to you. That was quirky, and that was good. It's you're continuing to push the boundaries in a different direction now, and I'm liking it. I kind of want something a little bit different on the vocals. There was this moment where you could hear with pretty good clarity a fair bit. I kind of want there to be a second track of vocals where it's not quite dry, but it's not filtered or pushed back so much. So there can be just tiny little snippets of that sequence actually coming through to the surface. I would also challenge you to find a different way to process the Foley or found sound samples that you bring in towards the end there. I'd probably let them shine like at kind of full crispiness almost. Having them so obscured leaves the mix feeling a little cluttered instead of enhanced there at the end. And I feel like you should kind of lean into the clarity thing just a little bit more on this, because what you've done with all the funk stuff, as you've kind of explored it over the past year or so, has been pretty great. So I would trust your gut there, lean into it just a little bit more. The male vocals push back just a bit too far this time, I think. Yeah, just lots of really good stuff to like about this one. You have really good stopping points. Your trust in your feelings, your ideas. It's good to hear, man. Good to hear. Iron Imp says the vocals through a frozen reverb would be an interesting element to resample in and then have a reversed ramp-up attack towards the downbeat, just as a random idea. Dude, seriously? That would feel good for an ending, too. A ramp-up into a frozen resample would be... That's tasty. I can feel that. Work, you done good. That's good. Hope you got more cooking. Chakra, DNB. You are up, homie. You bet, Quirk. No, I seriously, like, as soon as you feel that, keep pivoting. Like, just trust your gut. The stuff that you're doing is good. We heard one earlier that had a pretty nice funk fusion thing, and I agree with you. I think we've gone past the tipping point of funk. We are trending toward the post-funk era. So instead of hybridizing, as you have been, I would encourage you to move past it. Like what happens in Corky's post-funk era, right? You still got some elements, or else we wouldn't be calling it post-funk. Not that anyone else is. I don't think I've ever heard that term before, but we could start using it here. Cowbell funker. Morica funk. That's a cowbell funk. A funk cowbell. All right, Shocker DMB. Let's see if they surprise us this time. This one's called You and Me. Oh, no, you didn't, Iron Imp. They drifted so hard they tipped the needle into the future of post-funk. I see what you did there.
This how it's gonna be. This how it's gonna be. Just only you and me. This how the days should go. This how it's gonna be. This how it's gonna be.
Yo, Chakra, it's gorgeous. I love it. I only have a couple of little nitpicky things here. The first two knocks in that reverb channel, as that rhythmic element starts to come up, I feel like those can just be removed. It felt a little bit um not really out of place, but maybe just unnecessary more than anything. I like the rest of it as it comes in. Great reverb, by the way, in that intro. It felt like just the right one. I want just a touch more roundness from the bass synth that felt like it was sitting just a little bit high in the mix. If it had just a little bit more bottom to it, it would feel better, I think. Also want some more movement baked into the bass. So, like, maybe a little bit more detuned to get the swirls happening, or maybe some subtle wavetable modulation if it's a wavetable synth producing the sound. And then lastly, at the end, when you get the little double time shaker in there, which I really like, by the way, um, I'm kind of wanting to hear maybe a slightly more rattly one introduced, one that's a little bit more loose. Everything else is so tight in the mix that I feel like the shaker could be just a little more loose. Anyway, that's me. Got this little side conversation about entropy happening in the chat over here. Everybody else feel like the future of genres is unfolding as we speak? I kind of feel like it always has been. Chakra, you are welcome. I mean, isn't it rock and roll? Like, stop and think about this. I used to talk about this at great length, and really haven't for a while. But like, what is more rock and roll than like when your folks are still at work and you've just gotten home from school as a youth? Um, you're pressing buttons, turning knobs on things. You have no idea what they're supposed to do. So the outcomes are all you, right? Because you don't know the rules. The comment earlier from Andremia about know the rules before you break them. I kind of uh, feel like that mindset can really only be like truly embraced after all of that, after all the shenanigans. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a point at which you're free to arrive at your own outcomes without being burdened by rules or what came before you, and then be inspired by what came before you after you start to realize what you've just stepped into the middle of. You know what I mean? I feel like what else is more rock and roll than that? Yeah. And Dremy clarifies with, I mean, experiment until you understand the rules, then break the rules on purpose. Yeah, true, true. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there are always a few things that really stand out at the end of a Feedback Friday, right? There's always like a few that each one of us is probably thinking, wow, man, that one, that one. And sometimes you can't quite put your finger on what it is, but almost all of the time it comes down to the fact that you could hear the person in it. You know what I mean? And what better way to discover yourself than not know what the hell you're doing or have anyone to tell you, uh, dude, you're doing it wrong. You know what I'm saying? Chakra, that was freaking tasty. And Breeze, you're next. Got you. Thank you for the follow, Sub Clever. Happy Friday to you. Don't forget, everybody, as we get closer to wrapping this up, if you are currently subbed to the Twitch channel, you do get a lot of free sounds. All you need to do is link your profiles in your Twitch and Discord, and you will auto-magically be granted access to subscriber rewards. And there are several hundred sounds in there for you right now. I know I keep saying this, but I'm going to swap them out soon. Breeze, this one is Breeze and Fora. Let's listen to it. There are changes coming to the store next week. Some sounds might disappear. This is good. This is good. The LUFs need to come down a bit. The nature ambience from the field recording is going to feel like it's sitting a bit more comfortably and not as driven, and just we'll be able to turn it up. It's just a little bit too loud for the type of music that it is. Fantastic palette of sounds. Really, really solid arrangement too. I'd bring the sub down 4 to 6 dB, bring the low end cutoff up to 50 hertz, 12 dB per octave curve. About it. This is really good. Like, I'm not going to change a lot about this. I just want the low end wrangled just a little bit. And it's great. That's great. August, I feel that. Yeah, it's an old school chat room forum thing. Before the thumbs up and thumbs down were introduced in the social networks, people used the +1, -1. Dude, Breeze, this is solid. This is solid. Clean up the low end just a little bit. Bounce this thing. Move on to the next. Really good. Kitty cats, I think we're about done. Unless someone has one more to drop right now. You've been teetering. You're not quite sure if you're willing to put yourself out there. Now's your chance. Now is your chance. Otherwise, I'm going to say stuff like, I appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend and stay inspired and make really good stuff. Hey, Breeze wants to put another one in. Do it. Do it. Do it. August is going to do it. All right, great. We'll put 2 more tracks into the mix. It's not very often where I'm like calling for more tracks at the end of a stream that's already gone over. But you guys are killing it today. Who's your keys? Welcome in. Yeah, Iron Nip, I like the uplifting kind of mood. And just to scroll up a bit, my comment about the shakers on the track from Chakra, Iron Nip wanted to share with respect to shaky or shakers. If you're processing a sample, say, you can use a really aggressive noise gate and add space in the transients and then a tight delay to kind of make it rattle out. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Hey, look at that. Say more tracks and more tracks appear. All right, we will close the queue again. And listen to these. Sub Clever, yes. You can put one in the chat. Put one in the chat. And then we'll probably be wrapped up. Word. All right, so first one's for Breeze. Yo, Breeze, I like the vibe and the intro, super tasteful levels. When we get into the full mix, though, there are some issues with the volume mix. So let's get through this. The sub needs to come down about 10 dB. The tuning of the sub seems a little off, especially at the beginning of the track. I'd move the low end cutoff all the way up to 50 hertz, 12 dB per octave. Volume balance seems off on this one in general after you get that low end wrangled. So here's a few notes on that. Claps, down a couple. Kick, down at least 5 dB, and less reverb. It's a little bit too present on the sides, so it's kind of distracting. The pad needs to come down a good 5 dB. The sparkles further out from center, 238. I'm sitting here thinking we've been kind of in the same groove for a while now. An arrangement change up would be good. It's feeling a little monotonous. It could just be the addition of a top line element that was not there previously, right? A little solo over the top, some nice little mod wheel bends. Something like that. It was really good stuff. A couple more things to work on this one. I think the one right before this was a little bit more closer to being done. This one, after you make these changes, I have no idea what your normal workflow is or how long you usually spend on this type of thing, but I'd almost recommend like going through this, making these changes, and then saving the project as a duplicate and start an entirely new volume mix from scratch just to see if it turns out any differently than what you did the first time. And if it did, then that means that you weren't really sure what the priorities were in the mix. Fair? So do that for yourself. And like the more often you can get to a really honest turning point like that, right? Where you realize that you were kind of guessing at what should be at what level, then it gives you the kind of permission that you need internally, right? To like face that head on and tackle it and make it right. So, good stuff. Who's your keys? We're up. I'm gonna put this one in here for you, just because it was a little lengthy. Hoosier, let's do this. The Reckoning. Update. Almost final mix. Always guessing, right, Breeze? Judging from the progression, I'm gonna guess that you're wanting to put this one into your licensing portfolio, right? Pill, yeah, go for it. You can. Alex, welcome in. Happy Friday. Go for it. Okay, who's your keys? This is a great track. Aside from the crash cymbals being just a touch loud at the end there for the mix, I would say go ahead and push this over to mastering. I would really recommend, though, that you audition this track with a slightly different progression, maybe even put it in a totally different key. If you look at all of the marketplaces right now, about 90% of them follow the same progression, have the same concept, the same exact kind of builds, and mostly the same palette. Almost everyone is chasing the same idea right now, and it's kind of silly, especially when you have skills, right? And you obviously do. So you happen to be one of the people that could go left instead of right. A lot of the other people don't have the skills, right? So they're going to make what other people are making, and that's totally fine too, right? It's a fair, free market. But you're going to stand out if you're part of the 10%. If you're part of the 90%, it's a lot of hunting and pecking, needle in the haystack kind of opportunities. What are the odds that yours will be clicked on rather than the hundreds, literally hundreds of others that have come out in the last month with the same progression in that one marketplace, right? Regardless of where you're selling. So what I would say is create an alternate. And if you like what you cook up, upload them both and just kind of track and see which one performs better over time. It'll take a little time, but I think you'll learn. Adam, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Respect the gazelle. If you are currently subbed to the channel, you get free sounds on the Discord. That's how this works. So link your accounts and go get them. There's like several hundred movie dialogue samples that have been chopped for you guys, and one of the big packs from my other little sound freaks called Dark. It's a whole bunch of cinematic drones and textures, soundscape stuff. So appreciate you, Adam. Who's your keys? I hope this resonates with you, and that you feel this. It's tough. It's a tough time to be competing so directly in the marketplaces. Hey, Brit Boy just arrived. You kicked off our feedback Friday this morning, Dave, and you weren't even here, but you had some really great stuff. Thank you so much. It made all of us smile. It was really good. Really good. All right. Where are we here? Four. You are up. August, out of my head.
He shall hide me. He shall just woke up, don't know where I'm at. Fly as a bitch, I fall asleep like that. Can't succeed if I don't call no one back. Hit the beach and lay it all unpack. Bad bitch with a tan, I'm looking for her man. I can't get her out of my head. Now I keep a couple bands on me. Look at what you did to me. Y'all never be the same. Talk to me business, I got inhibitions. Don't try to give me kisses, I need my distance. Body around in a big body biz like you ain't me, you don't know what it feels like. Do I drive too fast? I'm sorry. Just got the new Ferrari. Got a bitch shit you off that. Ballin' like I play for the Pistons. Look at my watch, it glisten. I don't cook no shit in my kitchen. Bad bitch with a tan, I'm looking for her man. I can't get her out of my head. Now I keep a couple bands on me. Look at what you did to me. Y'all never be the same.
August, this is good. It's a clean mix. Vocals could be just a little bit more on top outside the chorus. The chorus seems just pretty spot on, honestly. Around 112, a little small transition effect to help that moment. And there's a couple of other spots in the arrangement similar to it. You can add a little something there for ear candy. Um, it's a pretty solid track. It's not fully mixed, but it's good. It's going to be a really nice mix. I would also like to know, what are you doing with this thing? Like, are you selling beats, leasing them? What are you doing? What are you doing? Saffron, take care, homie. Have a good weekend. I get to see you next week. Um, yeah, there's not a lot to fix in this one. Nothing. Not gonna do nothing. Just making it for yourself. Sounds good. Sounds good. The one thing that did stand out to me at the very end is this little
Tell me I'll never be the same.
that guy, the little brown. It felt a little beefy on the low end. It felt like the distortion that was on it was being pushed just a little bit too much. So if you take the drive down just slightly, it probably fixes that. I would also challenge you to change that just a little bit. Like maybe do a little pitch down on it or something like that, right? Just always leave people wanting more, going, whoa, whoa. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like the acapella in the beginning as well. August, I would say that your abilities would gain you access to doing stuff with your music. You know, I totally respect just doing it for yourself, but you could easily put up a small portfolio online and sell some stuff. It's good stuff. I would bring the loudness down just a little bit, but I really like the dynamic range that you've got cooking on this beat. It's good stuff. All right, Pill. Take the Pinterest picture off. All right, this one's Pill.
Hey, soldier. Man, Pill, you made this shit.
Rains Phoenix is here. Happy Friday, Rains. Yo, Pill, this is good. I'd bring the sub down 8 dB, low end cutoff up to 45 hertz, 12 dB per octave curve. Small change ups will increase the value of this quite a bit. It's a solid beat, but sprinkle in a few more reversals, resequences, scratches, etc. Just to keep the interest up. You got 2.5 minutes here, and it's a lot of the same stuff being shown off again and again. So what I would do is I would add to those things, maybe take away one of those things from the beginning and hold off on putting it out there until halfway through. Very, very small little changes. Little resequences, reversals are really all you need for a track like this. It doesn't need to be over the top, right? Other people are going to put stuff on top of it if you're selling it. Is it? It's good stuff. If the mix is not quite as clear as you're hoping it would be after you bring that sub down 8 dB and move the cutoff up, bring it down another 2 to 3 dB and see what you think. Most everything else in your arrangement is sitting at the right levels. So, Dread, let's do this. This one's called In a Moment.
Don't you want a man who can come when you call, who can try to give you wrong, who can catch you when you fall? Taylor about the fucking flex. You know I came to win the party, life is falling back. I saw a Lima with a Beamer, said he wanted cash. This is all I have, maybe we should change the flow. Maybe you and me should try to mend the broken hole. Bet I can name a couple people wanna see me fall. I think you gave me what I needed, but it's all in the past. Sorry about that, cause I'm a sucker for your ways. And your ways have me floating, asking where she bought it. That shit should be on the market, I can feel it in my bones. No, she know I know it, I gotta get that back. I haven't seen you in a moment. Whoa. Taylor about the fucking flex. I could be the one that's everything but modest. Got a million choices, but little baby, she the hottest. She don't wanna call me cause she thinks she would've bought it. Thinks you would've bought it. I think you noticed every time I call, you never letting me talk. Like everything I was saying wasn't logic. I'd rather be fingering my guitar than listen to you regardless. Everything I was doing was exotic. Alright, but it's alright. 30-minute spotlight. Keep on running back, I'll let you know when you could take flight. Let you know when you could take flight. Happy being lonely when it's all only gonna fall. Don't you want a man who gon' call when you call, who gon' try to give his all, who can catch you when you fall? Maybe we should change the flow. Maybe you and me should try to mend the broken hole. Bet I can name a couple people wanna see me fall. I think you gave me what I needed, but it's all in the past. Sorry about that, cause I'm a sucker for your ways. And your ways have me floating, asking where she bought it. That shit should be on the market, I can feel it in my bones. No, she know I know it, I gotta get that back. I haven't seen you in a moment.
Yo, Adam, this is pretty solid. Bring the LUFS down a bit, just reduce the limiting. The acoustic rhythm guitar can come down 7 dB. The little reversals can come down 4 dB. Backing vocal chops have a little resonance in the reverb. So you might want to soothe those a little bit. If you're not really adept at sweeping for resonant peaks, you can just use like a 6 dB per octave curve, or like the loosest, most gentlest setting on the cutoff, and bring it down a little bit, or use a shelf, right? So you don't lose all the air there, but just a little off the highs there will probably help. Otherwise, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Okay, Eric's here. All right, we got to go. Eric's here, you guys. I'm just kidding. Eric, it's great to see you, homie. That's like twice in the last month we've got you. That's great. How the hell are you? Adam, I'm glad that the feedback is vibing with you. LUFS is a measurement of loudness. It's how we measure perceived loudness. And right now, your loudness is a bit high. So if you've got a limiter at the end or a maximizer or something that has a threshold setting, and as you bring the threshold down, everything gets louder, back off that. It'll feel better. Starbeats. Starbeats. Let's do this. I mentioned it earlier just briefly, but there are changes coming to the store next week. I might give you guys a heads up, but some stuff might disappear. You know this happens. Don't get sad, but some stuff might disappear. New stuff will appear. But just telling you guys now so you're not caught off guard. And if you're subbed and you've been wanting all of the sounds that are in the subscriber rewards and you don't want to miss your chance, grab those this week because those are probably changing next week too. You get free sounds the whole month you're subbed, so it behooves you to get on it. Anyway, back to the last of our feedback here. This one's called Boombox from Starbeats. Yo, okay, Alex, there's a couple of things here. I think there's a little bit of wonkiness in the volume mix. That's like maybe one of the biggest things. You're very close to being done with this one. Really like the vibes. That wicked synth soloing toward the beginning of the track can come up quite a bit. Unless you really want the feeling to be that it's like on the other side of the room or something. I think it would feel good up. Rhythmic element feels a touch dry and bright. I'd filter it slightly and add a little air. You can move that filter cutoff position if you like over time, but I feel like if it was just a little bit more creamy and a little less bright, it's going to feel just a little bit better. It's got a warm vibe, this track. That stutter at 146 felt slightly off, and little trick, if you can't quite get the stutter at the exact spot, print it to audio and make a little volume automation and actually just cut out one whole step out of that. Just straight silence in there, right? It's going to make everything feel super freaking intentional. Just cut out, like if there's 4, cut out the third one. That's all you got to do. Love the little chiptune bits, the little 8-bit bits in there at 155. Really nice touch. At 208, the bass can use a little more definition on the edges. Overdrive will fix that for you. Don't add a bunch of drive, but just borrow the circuitry of the overdrive plugin. Pick one that you really like that allows you to target a specific frequency and dial it in at about 7K. I know that it's a bass, but you want it to target a high frequency so it can generate harmonics all the way up that frequency spectrum for you. It'll make that thing pop. So you might need to bring it down a little bit in the mix after you do that. Okay, so aside from that, there is a little bit of volume mixing stuff here, and I'm thinking that if you can get the bass sitting just right there at the end, at around the 2-minute mark, and if you can get that rhythmic element kind of in the pocket a little bit more profile-wise, that your ears will probably guide you in this. But if not, let's just go back really quick to this one spot. Okay, so around 145 or so, you've got a very full mix, so this is a really good spot to look at. It's probably the rhythmic element. It's probably the rhythmic element, that the little kind of bouncy synthy, that part. If you were to bring that down just in general and then only bring it up with volume automation at very specific moments, you're probably going to find that you have a great deal more room in your mix than you realized. And if you have a pad-like instrument prior to that, you really don't. There's not really much else you can carve away there. I just bring down that rhythmic element. Probably. It's good stuff. Oh, Danny throws in, could be cool to get a little tremolo on those hats. I like that. I like that. I like that idea. That would help. You bet, Alex. You bet. All right. Last one from Hoosier Keys. Oh, great. Here's the one with the vocalist on it. Same artist will be recording to the first one I sent to. Be great. I love getting the bigger picture.
I promise I won't be the same again. I saw visions of another life. Hack of fear I felt just feel so right. Drop a coin in the wishing well, wish for longer days, and blame it all on the memories that are pushed away. And now I'm lost in another wormhole, and I don't wanna find a way out, 'cause I don't wanna run away again. But I'm losing time. Think I need a change. Get through my eyes, I promise I won't be the same again. When the flashes come, I think of us. But the only light I see is the sun shine through the fog. Drop a coin in the wishing well, wish for longer days, and blame it all on the memories that are pushed away. And now I'm lost in another wormhole, and I don't wanna find a way out, 'cause I don't wanna run away again. Oh, but I'm losing time.
All right. Hoosier, this is really, really good. The vocals are just absolutely superb. Fantastic mixing and processing on them. At 110, the mix is pushing against the vocals. Don't let anything compete with the vocals. These are really, really good vocals, and your music is also really, really good. So do everything you can to make sure that you never ever reach a point where you feel anything is being pushed. You want people to be able to really turn this up, right? Imagine being in a movie theater where everything is always overdriven, right? Imagine being in a movie theater, right? And hearing something really great from like Hans Zimmer or something, right? It's really emotional, and when it gets to its peak, it kind of makes you go, "Oh." That's what would happen in a situation like that with this mix as it is right now. So don't let anything compete with the vocals. Watch the low end rubble in your reverb. Always EQ your reverb channels to make sure your highs and lows are very well wrangled. Great reverb, by the way, on the vocals. It's super creamy, really, really nice decay rate, a lot of nice texture in there, and brilliant delivery too. At 221, you can hear that you've reached your limits. There's a bit of hysteresis in the mix. Hysteresis is the point at which things start to kind of quiver and fall apart. Right? You've hit a brick wall, and your mix is telling you that you need to back down just a little bit. And the low end specifically is pushing the rest of the mix. So back off the limiting. And this clock sample at the end, the very first intro of that sound, it almost sounded like it was a mechanical piano sound that was just out of sorts. So what I would say, and after about 3 ticks, we catch on that it's a clock. But if you had a little bit greater context to clue us into the fact that it is a clock, then it would probably help. So what kind of thing would help? More mechanical noises from a clock would help. Also, I understand that this is like an over embellished, like magnified view of or sample of, the secondhand clicking. But maybe if you had like a really subtle secondhand clicking at a more normal rate, then it would really enhance that time drag effect and clue us into the fact that it's a clock immediately, right? It's already being played with. So I think it's okay to play with layering and stuff here. Really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. There's like such a strong commercial value running through this thing. I can't wait to hear the vocals put on top of the other one that we listened to earlier. It's really good stuff. Really solid stuff. Indremia saying, great song, mid highs feel a little muted. Well, that could very well be a byproduct of the compression registering the signal strength of the low end. So it's one more reason why you want to back off the limiting just a little bit and bring down the low end just a little bit, because your plugins have no idea what you're making, and they have no idea what it's listening to. They just understand one thing, and that is signal strength. And did it cross a point of no return? If it crosses a threshold, compression kicks into action. It doesn't care what it's compressing or what triggered it. It just knows that it needs to. That's just one way that those big low end peaks can really affect the entirety of the track there. So there you go. There you go. This is great. It's great. Everybody in the chat is saying that this sounds fantastic. So I would trust that. You guys are flipping amazing every single week, every single Friday. You guys bring the heat, and I appreciate you doing it. It's a really good break from me, for me. And I can't wait to hear what you guys do next week. Like I was saying, stay inspired and make something really good over the weekend, because we're going to do it all again next Friday. And between now and then, we'll do a couple of solid production streams, I think. Get you guys listening to some of my stuff for a couple of days. All right, should we go join a big fam and listen to some Shoes House vibes? Always good on a Friday. Or should we go surprise Orchestereo, who is just starting their stream and has no idea that we're coming? Let's go see Orchestereo. See them. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to click this button and start this process. I will see you guys on the flip. Appreciate you sticking around. And to everybody that dropped tracks, I hope you bring more next time. Peace out.